you, the movers and shakers of South Sudan and the world over. We engage in debates and discussions that unearth the stories behind the news. And we have our light moments too by chit-chatting about issues that affect our day-to-day life. We stay right here on the Sundown. Join in and be part of the show on iRadio, your eye on South Sudan. The Sundown, for the news, views, opinion, debates and discussions. Listen to who is who talking about issues that affect our country and continent. Only on the Sundown, your eye on South Sudan.
Hello and welcome to the Sundown Show on iRadio with me, Madrama James, and I would like also to welcome you to this special talk show brought to you by World Vision in partnership with Central Equatoria State Ministry of Gender, Child and Social Welfare with support from the World Food Program. South Sudan continues to face serious challenges, conflict, displacement, disease and floods that put pressure on families and communities. Because of this problem, many children are forced to walk on the streets instead of going to school. Some girls are married at a tender age, affecting their health and future. At the same time, food insecurity remains very high and malnutrition among children is also on the rise. Today, we want to talk about child labor in homes and communities, why children should be in school and not working for money. Together with our guest, we will explore what can be done to protect children, promote equality, and build a safe environment for every child and family. Joining us in the studio are Sarah Naduru, Gender and Protection Officer, Food Assistant, World Vision South Sudan, Malis Obede, Protection Officer, joining our Force for Food Security and Child Protection in Emergency, World Vision South Sudan, Agustino Ayeko, Director for Gender, Central Equatoria State Ministry of Gender, Child and Social Welfare. Welcome all, and to start with, Sarah, tell us a little bit about World Vision and its school feeding program. Welcome.
Thank you. World Vision is an international organization, Christian organization. It started in 1989 up to date. It operates in 5 states in South Sudan, Northern Barghazal, Western Barghazal, Western Equatoria, Central Equatoria, and Upper Nile. World Vision International work with families, children, communities, government, faith organizations, churches, and other faith organizations. Our vision is for every child, life in all its fullness. Our prayer for every child and the will to do it so. Briefly about school feeding program which we are currently implementing in Juba. World Vision International, in partnership with World Food Program and Ministry of Education, Instruction, is actively implementing the school feeding program across 21 government schools in Juba County. This initiative aims at to improve access to nutritious food and educational opportunities for learners by providing hot, balanced meals to pupils. Our primary objective is to encourage consistent school attendance, thereby enhancing children's overall health, nutrition, and academic performance. In addition, the program incorporates gender and protection activities to promote awareness of gender equality from an early age. Through discussion, educational resources, we aim to empower young girls and boys to create a supportive environment that values inclusivity.
Now, Sarah, despite all these contribution being made by World Vision, why do we see so many children working in homes and communities instead of being in schools?
Before that, I would like to define child labor. Child labor refers to work given to children that is beyond their age and capacity. It can affect them physically, socially, and their mental development. Why we see so many children working in homes and in the community? So there are some contributing reasons. We looked at it as one of it is parental poverty, where most of the family members are poor. They are unable maybe to provide the needs of their children. We see also family separation, which has been one of the contributing factor. Peer group influence. Some kids, they just go to the street to work on the street because they have seen others who are working on the street and they are making money, they join them. Natural calamities, cultural norms, whereby in some cultures along you see that children have to participate in the work, which is like a communion work. For example, it might be farming. There might be a day in a week or any of their days. They say that today all the children must go to do what? According to their culture, they must participate in what? Communal farming. Sometimes they miss school and they don't know that it is a form of what? Child labor. These are some of the reasons among many.
All right. Thank you so much for your perspective. And now, what dangers does child labor create for a child's future? That we shall tackle it a little bit after this. But it's time now for me to invite Alice. How does child labor affect the education and well-being of children in that's our society and preferably a Central Equatoria state?
Thank you so much, James, for giving me this opportunity. Before I chip into this question that you've just asked, I just want to add something on what Sarah has just said. You know, one of the reasons that's why we see very many children at homes or in our communities not attending schools is also could be child neglect. You know, this is a situation where we have children who have their parents, but instead of putting for example, payment of a school fees as a responsibility, then they just like ignore. So it becomes like the child is neglected. Then at the end of the day, of course, the child cannot go to school. That's why we see many children in our homes. And then coming to, of course, the effects. You know, the effects of child labor on the education and the well-being of children. So, you know, in education, there we can talk about exploitation. So, like when you see very many children, instead of going to school, they are involved into labor. So definitely this will have an effect in them not going to school. Then we also have like their performance in school will definitely not be like accurate like a child who is well catered for. Because today the child can be in school and then tomorrow maybe he or she is on the streets or in the market or doing some work. So he'll have no much time for revisions to look into what he or she is supposed to be doing in school. So this will gradually affect the performance of the child. So this could be another effect when it comes to education. And then we also have like losses in access, of course, to schooling. Like today, you are a child, you are already involved in labor or in doing work. And then the time that you have access to school becomes limited. Because most of the thing this child will be thinking is, how will I get money tomorrow? Maybe how will I get money for my food? How will I get school fees? The access to education becomes very, very, very difficult. And then it also exposes this child labor also exposes children into dangerous lifestyles. For example, a small child who's below the age of 18, maybe the child can be 17, 15, and this child is on the roads, for example, selling bananas. And this child crossing the road, maybe accidentally this child can be knocked. Or maybe this child is involved in a very dangerous work that takes a lot of like his or her energy. At the end of the day, the child comes back home when this child is tired. So for the child now to continue to revise his or her books because he's already tired, he wants to sleep, maybe he wakes up very late in the morning, he will not be able to go to school. These are some of the dangerous effects when it comes to education.
Yes.
But now coming to well-being, of a child, of course, physically this child can be affected. In a way that the child, for example, works the whole day, then the child becomes tired. Physically, this child can be affected. The child can also be affected mentally because children, there is a stage a child needs to grow. But now this is a child who's doing a very heavy work, which the way like a child, Sarah defined child labor. So mentally, even psychologically and emotionally, the child will be affected. So these are some of the few effects when it comes to child labor in the connection to education and child well-being. And this becomes worse when it comes into issues or situations of maybe emergency, for example, conflict and other things, maybe domestic violence at homes. So this becomes so much into the child. Yeah, these are some of the effects that I just need
now,
to
Malaysia,
keep in
you'll
mind.
find that some other parents are saying children must work to support their family, and in doing that, we will have, of course, a supportive society and children who also contribute to the well-being of their family. Now, what other alternative exists here if you are saying, okay, maybe child labor is something dangerous to their health and that's a well-being as well?
When it comes to alternatives that we give to children or to parents, like as we said from the start, as Sarah said, one of the causes of when you are reading at the background of this project, one of the causes, of course, of child labor in most of our communities is poverty, because people attribute it that children work because maybe their parents, they are not able to afford like bringing of a child in terms of health, in terms of food, in terms of education. It might be something connected to poverty. But I think the most important thing is as parents or as community leaders, as community members, is for us to tackle those root causes of poverty. Because if you are able to tackle those root causes of poverty, because everything is linked to poverty. In most of our awarenesses that we do, it is linked to poverty. So it's very important for us to understand those root causes of poverty. If we tackle them, and then probably there is going to be reduction in child labor. Because children work, they might need to eat. They work, maybe they are the only one supporting even the family in terms of food. So we need to tackle the root causes. And then the other thing is also to raise more awareness, for example, in the community. Because sometimes children act, they don't know their rights. They don't know that I have a right to go to school. Some parents also, they don't maybe support, like the way I said, neglect. They don't have that feeling that it's my right or it is my role as a parent to take my children to school instead of leaving them to do like a child work that is beyond the capacity of a child.
Thank you.
So it requires a lot of like awareness, sensitization to parents.
Thank you very much, Malis. It's a high time now for me to invite Director Ayeko. And now, what can community and leaders play, to keep children in school? At the moment, the statistic, 2.8 children are out of school. And some parts of South Sudan, there's conflict, there's displacement, there's flooding, and all these other natural disasters like Sarah just mentioned. Marhaba.
Thank you very much, the host of iRadio. I'm by name Ayukowani Agustino, the director of Gender Syndrome Torres State. Before I inject in, I think there is another element which was not mentioned. Sometimes failure of the children to go to school. I think it's maybe they fail even to meet their best interest. This best interest is maybe safety and the other best interest. If they fail to meet this best interest, and immediately I think children, they can go to the streets. Coming to the roles of the leaders and the community leaders, particularly for child labor, one, it is the government to come out with the laws, either bylaws to be enacted, so that the parents of the children, they can be given awareness about child labor, the effect of the child labor, particularly on the nation. So mostly the government has to prioritize the needs of the children. And it's true, within urban Juba, if you go to the streets, particularly the other roads like Tombra Road, where you see most of the children under age, maybe from 17 to 18, to 15, they're just lying on the roads. And most of these contributing factors are particularly drug abuses. So the only thing for the for the community leaders to do is to come out with the bylaws. That is number one. Number two, even to sensitize the parents of these children about the dangers of child labor. Secondly, the government has to work together with the partners, particularly the stakeholders, so they can be able to minimize the rate of the child labor, particularly in Southern Sudan. All in all, everything depends on the government. And it is good that the government should work together with these partners so that the partners can be able to complement even the effort of the government. So it is true, the statistics of these street children is so immense. Based on what? Based on this crisis which is happening, particularly in our country. One is this natural calamities, as mentioned by Sarah. These are the things which are happening in Southern Sudan. And this one mostly can lead the children to go to the streets, and even it can lead them to school dropout. Therefore, the government should come with a framework, legislation forming of laws, so that any person found using a child as a labor should be penalized. I think the government should have that law so to guide the children's rights. Number two, there have to be parental sessions, how parents should take care of the children so they can be able to go back to school. Three, charity always begins at home. I think the most important thing, the parents of the children, they really want to educate the children at home. Thirdly, the government should come out with a project to alleviate the poverty which is now alarming within Southern Sudan. So the most important thing is how to elevate this poverty. This is vehicle cycle of poverty in the Southern Sudan. It is true, most of these street children now, they are no longer going to school, and most of them now, they are used to these drug abuses. So the most important thing is the government should come with the laws, how to guide the child labor, particularly the parents. And on the local area, particularly as I've seen previously during our time, the chiefs, they play a very big role. If you don't send your child to a school, you'll be penalized. Either you'll be given, you produce a god, either you'll be fined by paying some money because you failed to send a child to a school. I think these are the laws whereby I can guide even the community leaders, in particular in the areas, so that they can be able to send their children to schools.
All right. Director, you are from the Ministry of that's Gender, Child and Social Welfare. Now, what are you people doing? For instance, there are drug shops within the residential areas where it's also accessible for some of these young generation to take things like the ice, some other drugs that are really prohibited, and at the end of the day, it will also contribute to their dropped out in the school. Two, talking about some of these traditional leaders, what kind of mechanism to ensure that some of them, because are not even sending children to school, their own children. Now, what is Central Equatorial State Ministry of that's Gender and Child Social Welfare doing?
Thank you. I think for a change, the transformation takes time. But everything is being put on table. We have come out with a policy. Now, this policy needs to be translated into action. Now, this policy, when it's been translated into action, I think everything will move very nice. But it is on a process. It's there on the table. As I've said, development takes a process, and there's a time. Issue about this drug abuses, I think most of them have been brought from the foreign countries. And at the border, I think there are checkpoints whereby I think the former mayor even banned out all these alcoholic brews. Particularly, you can hear these local talks about Jennifer, and even cocaine. I think the government is doing a lot in order to curb all these kind of drug abuses which is affecting our nation.
All right.
So I think the government is not sleeping, is doing a lot.
Thank you. Sarah, over to you. Children are always regarded as the future generation. And at the moment now, we have a lot, 2.8 children that are really out of school. This sounds to be very dangerous and risky. Now, to let us also know what dangers does child labor create for that's a child future? Because if you take a look at it, it's really stressing and at the same time giving a lot of worries to parents. Welcome.
Thank you. I think the dangers which we are seeing it here from what is happening, we are likely to see that we shall have unskilled people in future if this one does not stop. Children need to go to school, but if they don't want to go to school and they are on the street, this one towards it will be a very big problem for our country, South Sudan. We may not have many educated people, so there is a need for us to work hard to raise awareness, to sensitize the family members, the community, to ensure that policies are in place so that which will make all children to go to school. We are trying our level best as an organization with in partnership with WFP to ensure that children are at school. That's why they come in to support in this school feeding program to ensure that at least there is food, which is one of the basic needs for children, to retain them at school, to increase the number of children in school. Because they go early in the morning and they go home late, at least those who are in school, let them focus on their lessons at school without thinking of going home. And even those who are at home and they are lacking food, when they hear from their colleagues that there is food at school, at least with this they will go to school to attend classes, also get something to eat. This will help them, and with this it can help the pupils at least to study.
All right. Yeah. Now, over to you, Males. Through the school feeding program, what kind of success stories have so far your organization have registered in Central Equatoria State? If you can tell us more, especially the impact of the school feeding program. Welcome.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Just speaking from what Sarah has said, when this school feeding program started in schools, of course, there was an increment of the number of learners that increased, of course, in the 21 schools, which she mentioned before. Because, when a child goes to school, then right from 8, maybe up to 12, the child is supposed to come out for lunch. Maybe even before that, the child is supposed to come out for breakfast. But where there's nothing for this child to eat, that's why sometimes the number of dropouts are so many. This is one of the dangers of this child labor. But because of this school feeding program, as I said before, the success stories are so many. But the immediate one that we can see is the number of children that are enrolled into school through this program. Yes.
And again, yes, Sarah, maybe you come in. Welcome.
In addition to increase in attendance, we also see that there is a better performance from most of the children in these 21 schools, because when a child is hungry, will not listen to what the teacher is teaching. So since they have something to eat, they have food to eat, they don't think about anything, they concentrate more. With this, there is increased number of pupils who are performing well.
Director Ayeko, if you look at some of the initiative brought in by World Vision, these are very good program or initiative, but at the end of the day, sustainability of this program and where government need also to come in and pick up from where World Vision is doing now. What kind of recommendation would you really suggest to some of these policies maker to also come in and pick up and add on what World Vision is doing in the country?
Yeah, thank you. I think before I go to the policies, one, this is school feeding program initiated by World Vision in partnership with World Food Program. I think it is attracting some of the peoples, either children who are at home. Whenever they come at home, I'm talking through experience. Why are you delaying like this? There is food in the school. Oh, there is food there? Yeah, there is food in the school. Immediately that child who has left the school, he will come to the school. Because they are playing, there is food there. So immediately there is interest because you heard that food is there. So food, actually, I think is one of the factors which can bring people, as children, back to school. Now, coming to the policies. The policies, I think, one, the government has to develop effective anti-child labor policy. Very, very effective. Number two, by addressing the root causes of child labor. What are the root causes of the child labor? The government has to find out. Because nothing can make a child to leave the home if there are no problems. I mentioned, as what Sarah said before, there are some of the elements, other contributing factors, which can lead a child to drop out from school. Either maybe it can go to the street even to be exploited for child labor. There are some of the root causes. Therefore, the government will try to come out to find out the root causes. What are the root causes for this child labor, either for the children to leave the schools? This is number two. Number three, again, mobilizing of all stakeholders to bring significant progress about child labor. All the stakeholders, not only the government, the stakeholders here, it means we even you are very important to play a role. How you can be able to bring the child labor down to reduce, to minimize child labor on the streets. So the government has to do these policies so that to come out with the legislative law, enforce laws, particularly for the perpetrators who are really instigating the children to go to the streets so that they can make use of them, and to exploit them so that to get money from from the children. And by the way, that is how the government is supposed to do, to enhance laws. And even the parents of the children, they should be given bylaws. Whenever you don't send a child to a school, please, you are going to face the law. So I think the government has to lay some of the laws and the legislative laws, particularly for the stakeholders, and the framework, particularly this framework whereby every multi-sector should come and play its role so that to mitigate the child labor issues in Southern Sudan.
Dear listener, if in case you have just joined us, you're listening to the Sundown Show on Radio with me, Madrama James, and today we are talking about a very important and pressing issue in our country that's talked about child labor. And with me in the studio is officials from World Vision and Gender, Child and Social Welfare Central Equatoria State. If you have a question or comment, please do not hesitate, of course, to send it via our Facebook page, or else you can call us on 0911 986 986. Let's first have a break. When we come back, that's when we shall be giving you the opportunity to ask you a good question to my potential speakers in the building.
It's a Baghdad Diamond Wenisuma iRadio على نمرة التليفون 0911-986-986 أو تبيرسل رسالة على نمرة 0913-986-986.
A warm welcome back from the break, and my lines are officially open. 0911-22986-986. First caller, iRadio. Wow. You can get back to us on 0911-22986-986. First caller, iRadio.
Yes, iRadio. How are you?
Tamam, how are you?
I'm good, man. About this topic is a very good one.
Thank you very much.
I like it, yeah. I want to tell you that there are so many construction companies in the country. They're exploiting a lot of children.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting. First, start with your name and where you're calling from.
I'm Rimonized. I'm calling from Highquest.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so many kids are being exploited by construction companies, and they are paid poorly. You find the companies are paying South Sudanese children something like less than 15,000 or 8,000. So you find then these kids suffer a lot, loading cars, loading cement, and overworking them. Yet these companies are paying themselves, most especially the foreigners, they are paid highly. You see, so this government need to look into that and they investigate all these companies so that they raise the payment of these South Sudanese, and also they look at the ages that are working there.
Thank you so much for your comment. Raymond calling from that's a high equity. But let's keep the conversation going on 0911 and 986 right here. We have David Benjamin sent right for us via our Facebook page that government needs to give peace a chance, and what all the speakers said in the House will immediately pop up. Thank you. Radio?
Hi, Ready, how are you?
Tamama Community Advisor.
Yeah, let me welcome our guest in the studio.
Thank you.
And you, the presenter of today. My question is so very simple, and I want to know from them. That project, is it mainly for Equatoria or is for entire South Sudan? Number two, I myself, I went and collect data from all the schools within Bor and other states. Performance of those students and pupils are very low. Because if you see the class contains 100 and only 20 people pass and 80 people fail, that one cannot make progress. Have you seen the welfare of teachers before you see the welfare of people, or you include it? Number two, it is the only school you selected that the one raising children with a good performance. What about the rest? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Community Advisor. He wants to know areas where World Vision is working in and looking at low enrollment of learners in the school. What are some of the contributing factors, and why did World Vision even decided to select only 21 schools? What are the criteria of that selection? Radio. Ayuwa.
Hello, marhaba. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, Emmanuel Panadol.
Salam da yake lero da littafin video na difantitana na lela ja ta ai radio. Actually, World Vision, Hindu Vision adi. So, nina gani tabi barnami World Vision in terms of health, in terms of education, and even in terms of support of cars. So in terms of teaching how to start a business, in terms of agriculture. So World Vision to our community in South Sudan. But we to understand to is very hard for us. You know, what I want to commend that we in South Sudan, we need three things. We don't want to work. That's the major thing. That's why we are creating a lot of poverty in the country. And the second, the war affecting the whole entire country is now enter, we are losing education. We are losing, all departments that fail because there is war in the country. One, even in our family, I train my children to school, and even my neighbors, I can see everybody running up and down to school being on the job. But the proper teaching, they are not there. On the private schools, but the government schools is already collapsed and failed. So we need that the government at least to improve education system, and even the teaching could be properly. That's why you can find we are improving education system in the country. But currently, what we discover, we as a parents, we have commitment to pay our children to school, but no proper teaching. Yeah? Our children can go to school and they say only with one lesson, since morning up to evening, only one lesson, imagine. And which kind of teaching are that? So we need the government to improve education system well. Always, if there is salary, I think there is good motivation of teaching. But the teachers complain, no any single salary that went to them. They say more than 2 years, others 1 year and 6 months, that is salary. Imagine, and you are going to school, you are going to teaching. So which means the government of South Sudan buried the people. So this is my comment. We need the government at least improve the system of education in South Sudan. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Director Ayeko is right here to answer some of those concerns related to that government of Central Equatoria State. I radio.
Hello, yes, I'm called David, from Rajab.
David from?
Rajab.
Okay, from Rajab East. Welcome.
In South Sudan, they do a lot of work. But the problem with the government is one management. Any organization who are coming to help South Sudan. That is why the government is the failure of all of any organization who are coming to work in South Sudan. You see, about agriculture. I am an agriculturalist. World Vision helps us a lot. But the problem on insecurity. That is why you found more people in Juba. All those people who are in Juba, maybe 98%, it is have more poverty. Only 2%. Those are the rich men. If they say the children within Juba, those who are the CEOs of the party of Sudan now, they are all in the street. That is why the government is not taking care of the children of South Sudan. So thank you.
Thank you very much, David from Rajab. And your concern will be addressed shortly. And I thank you also for raising that concern. Let me talk to this caller. Are you radio?
Hi. Salam alaikum, I radio.
Alaikum salam, munu atasel menwen.
Amule aringo fimia saba.
Marhaba, Mule.
Okay. As World Vision are saying, and the director Ayiko is there, how can we take these children to the schools and feed them only and play without having lessons? What are they going to do there? Because there is no lessons. People should know this. Because teachers are not activated. So they eat, they play, then back home, which means they are doing nothing. This is one. Two, as a director representing the government, you are part of the government. Even myself, I'm part of the government. Why can't we talk that we need by law? It is not a matter of singing. We should implement. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mule, for your concern. One more lucky caller, and then I will be giving the humble time to my esteemed guest in the studio here to answer some of your wonderful questions. Now, via our Facebook page, we have Ring that good evening, Madrama James, and plus your guests in the studio, listeners of iRadio, writers and callers across South Sudan. My question to the guest in the studio. In South Sudan, people are very good at talking, but when it comes to that's the implementation, it's difficult, and you don't even witness by your eyes. So I'm sure you are talking about some of those policies and actions that need to be taken. And away from that, we have W. Christopher from Western Equatoria State, Yambio. He is sending his regards to my guest in the studio, and thank you so much for joining us from Western Equatoria. Now, because of time, allow me now to first invite Director Yeko to respond to some of the concerns raised during our live call conversation. Welcome, Director.
Thank you.
Bukonta bagder jo barabi wala be Englisi eshan mon barro befahim.
A question was raised by one member about teachers. People, stroke students, sometimes they go to school, no proper teaching, and they come home. One is teachers are not motivated. That is true. I agree. Teachers not motivated. Secondly, we in Southern Sudan were just depending on one commodity, that is the oil, which is a source of revenue to us in Southern Sudan. If we were to diversify our economy, I think everything will be improved, not only education sector, but every sectors in Southern Sudan. It is only that because we are just relying on one commodity, the oil. Number two, issue of bylaws. I think bylaws, always we in the State Ministry of Gender, China, Social, we used to come by bylaws, and we invite even the local authorities, particularly the community leaders, we give them the bylaws. We did the bylaws. But the problem is now the implementation. We do the bylaws, but they cannot implement it. So I think as a government, we're really on the track. We're really on the track of doing things so that to improve the livelihood of our people, students of this country, because they are going to be the future generation of this country. There is no any nation whereby cannot do something to his own people. But the government is trying day and day. That's why you see even teachers, they're not getting salary. But some of them, they go to classes to teach. Even me, I'm with the government. Sometimes 1 year I did not get salary, but I come to office for the sake of my own people. So for a change, as I talked before, it takes time. But I'm very optimistic things will change. Rome was not built within a day. As I say, that Southern Sudan is still a new nation. It is a process. Therefore, our problem about teachers, they are doing their work. The problem is, as World Divisions come out with that project, the initiative for school feeding program, it is in order to attract these people, stroke students, to come to school. As said by Sarah, I think there is a good performance now. This is now a projection that school feeding program is one of the elements that contribute factor in order to bring these students in order to study. Even teachers, these rations, I don't know if the teachers, do they get the rations? Or they eat together with the students in the school. So the issue is on that we are depending on mono commodity, the fuel, whereby revenue is not enough.
All right.
That's the main challenge, particularly for our country. But I hope if we diversify this economy, particularly to agriculture sectors or other sectors, I think we can boost even our economy, and every sector, either institution in Southern Sudan, will improve. And thank you.
Thank you. And now to Malesa and Sarah, that why a World Vision and World Food Program selected only 21 schools and some of your field offices, and what are some of the selection criteria? To any of you can, of course, respond to some of these questions. First, Sarah.
Okay, thank you for giving me this opportunity. As I earlier mentioned that World Vision work in partnership with WFP program to support 21 schools across Juba. The caller asked either it is for the whole South Sudan. It's not for the whole South Sudan. Today we are talking about Central Equatoria, and 21 schools were selected. According to the project design, the design was for with some targeted number. That was 13,732 pupils to benefit from this one. So we work according to our target. We come in to question about teachers not being paid. I think this one is for the government. World Vision, together with WFP, they come in to support. The schools are government schools. They come in to support, and much of our activities is about protection, to protect the children, to make the school to be a safer place, a conducive place for children. That is why this program of school feeding came in. We are protecting children to be on the street, to engage in other bad behaviors like child labor. Let them love the school. Let the school be a conducive place to them. When there is food in the school, at least it is favorable for them. So we came in to build on what the government is doing. We came in to also to support it. That is why not all the schools were selected. We had a target.
And now, out of these 21 school, a community advisor would like to know what kind of criteria selection is used to say maybe school A qualified to be supported through the school feeding program, and tell us more.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. When it comes to selection criteria, in everything, of course, there is always a criteria. As Sarah has said before, we don't work like World Vision as alone, no, as a standalone. We work in partnership with the different stakeholders, including the government. So normally we have what is called memorandum of understanding with the government. And again, we have so many government schools that are within Juba. So it is World Vision working together with the government and then trying to see which schools should be supported. So that's why I said World Vision works in partnership with the government. There is always a memorandum of understanding. And then we work based on the memorandum of understanding that World Vision signs with the different line ministries. For example, we have the Ministry of Gender, Child and Social Welfare, where we have also a memorandum of understanding with them about how project activities were implementing. Right from the introduction you had, I was being introduced as like a child protection officer working for joining forces for food security and child protection in emergency. That is another project. And then this school feeding project is also another one. So that's why it's only implemented in government-aided schools. So one of the criteria is that, of course, the school has to be a government-aided school because we work in partnership with the government. Then there's also one thing I needed to say about the performance. Somebody raised the question. I think that should be community advisor. I think the same. He was raising a question of saying, yes, we give food, but people are not being taught. Even their performance is okay. It's like very poor. But I also want to say, performance is also, it has like a lot of factors. For example, taking your own child, for this child to be able to perform very well, there are a lot of factors. There are different roles that we can play as teachers, as parents. So every person has a role to play. Even the child himself or herself has a role to play. For example, a child is to go to school, attend to classes, revise their books. When it comes to exams, they are able to write the exams correctly. That is the responsibility of a child. And again, the parents also have a responsibility. For example, if you are able to pay your school fees timely of the child, then the child cannot be sent from school to home. Maybe one of the contributing factors is that maybe the child drops out of school for some time, maybe is sent home because of school fees, then takes long again to go back to school. The child goes back to school when others have already moved on with some courses that are supposed to be finished within the curriculum. This could also be another contributing factor. There are so many factors that can contribute to poor performance of a child.
All right. I would really love to extend this program because of its importance, but again, time is not on one side. So, Director Yeko, what should be done? What's your central message to parents and stakeholders to make sure that the number of kids that are in school are retained and also enrollment goes up?
Yeah, I think before I send a message out, I would like to come in the issue about the criteria. I think the partners, they are not working by themselves alone. As I said, that the memorandum of understanding is there, which means is a binding document between the government and the partners. So whatever the partners do, first of all, they come for a consultation from the government. And from there, they send to the donor. Number two, the donor interest. Sometimes the donor interest said, okay, based on my own funding, maybe I'm limiting in a such kind of maybe population of people, students I'm going to fund such kind of people, and these are going to be the number. And the thematic areas. So that's why this project for school feeding project has been initiated by who? By World Vision in collaboration with the government. Funded by who? By World Food. My message to the parents. First of all, if I go to the message to the parents, one, I would like the government, IS being the government should come out with laws, setting legal standard to minimum age requirement for a child to work. It's very, very, very important. Number two, my message to the parents and the community in general, they have to send their children to school because these children, these are the future generation of this country. Because charity, previously as I've said, charity starts at home. And we, the role as a government, we do a very big role by advising even the parents. Sometimes we call them for workshops, even the community, we call them for workshops, but sometimes implementation becomes a problem. But we are doing our lot. All in summary, it is not the role of the government to come with bylaws so as to enforce these bylaws so that it can be function for the progress of this child labor.
All right. Thank you very much for your message. Over to you, Sarah. What's your last message in less than 30 seconds because of time?
I encourage all the listeners out there to stop child labor.
Thank you. Over to Malice.
Yeah, thank you so much. I want to say I want to appreciate all those listeners who have followed us. We appreciate them. We appreciate their concerns. But in summary, I just want to say, children are like nursery beds. So when not well protected, they can easily wither up or can be destroyed by animals. So let's stop child labor.
All right. Thank you very much. There's a message that pop up. Hello there, watching you live from Torit. It's great to have World Vision over there in the studio with iRadio, and much appreciations to them. They have been of a great benefit in the nation. The spirit all institutions should copy. Iromo Rita, thank you so much for sending in that important message. Dear listener, up to here, we have come to the end of our conversation, focusing on South Sudan children who are also facing tough challenges amidst that conflict, hunger, disease, floods, and early marriage that are also pushing many of them out of school and into that child labor. What should children, why should children be in school, and why not working for that money? And that particular important question has been well answered by my esteemed speakers in the studio. And I've been your host, Madrama James. Pleasure to be with you. And thank you also for asking those good questions.